Hey there, it's me, Queen. I'm Popular Patriot here. Thanks so much for watching. If you don't follow me already, go ahead, please follow me. I'm also on Twitter, Queen Free Market. But let me just get straight into this. So, yesterday I was talking with a friend of mine and I showed him this particular view. You can see right here. Anyway, so I kind of talked with him, and then the next reaction was more or less like, I'm a libertarian too, but this is a little going too far. Are you been influenced by living in Texas? Because he's living back on the East Coast, and I'm just a transplant. I'm a Texas transplant. Anyway, during this conversation, I said, oh, okay. So if you're a libertarian, can you please explain to me what type of libertarian you are? And to help him with his analysis, I provided him a visual of a bunch of everything along the libertarian camp. Now, for any of you guys who don't know, libertarians are big umbrellas, a big tent. There are left-leaning libertarians, those who support libertarian Marxism. Yes, that exists. There's right-leaning libertarians, for example, paleo-libertarians that respect natural rights and property and respecting natural law. So there's a big lots of flavors within the libertarian camp. Anyway, the point of the story is, he was like, well, why are you getting defensive? And I'm like, I'm not getting defensive. I need you to tell me. And he was like, well, is this because you're living in Texas? I'm like, well, I live in the Austin metro region. It's pretty darn liberal. He's like, is this because of your husband? My husband actually is more of a nationalist. So if anything, we're not even on the same page. And so the moral to the story is, he didn't answer my question, right? He danced around, and at the end of the day, he said, well, I'm on your same page. I want to respect you. And he was like, I said, you're a Democrat. It's like, if you're okay with saying I'm a Democrat, like, go ahead, just be real with me. You're a Democrat. My message to everyone who's listening, who says they're independent, they're Republican, they're whatever, right? It is incumbent on you to even understand what any of that mess is. I think we're living a day and an age where everybody's just caught up with just labels and just saying whoever they think they are, and they're not doing a deep dive analysis about what that really entails. Like, for example, I was just listening, I shouldn't say listening, I was reading Yahoo News the other day, and they were interviewing George and Kellyanne Conway's daughter, and she was like, I grew up in a conservative household, but they're very strict, very conservative, but I've educated myself and I identify myself as a leftist liberal. You think a 15-year-old girl really understands what a leftist liberal really is? Like, seriously, does she really understand even what that means? I don't think so. I don't think she even comprehends some of the ideology that's behind any of that. I don't think she understands critical race theory. I don't understand, she understands like some of the nuances that are going on right now. The point I'm trying to make to you, right? The point I'm trying to make to everybody who's listening is that don't get caught up on labels. Don't get caught up on just trying to go with what the crowd is saying, because a lot of the times you're misinformed. And one last thing I wanted to say to you is that do not get it twisted at all when you're thinking about whether or not your property, whether or not your liberties are being respected under the umbrella of a political party. A political party's interest, first and foremost, is to obtain and retain power. And they do it by offering concessions to whoever is their constituents, whoever just falls under their umbrella. And so if you understand what that means, right? Then it's like a matter of like, who can offer the biggest freebies, who can offer the most to keep people happy, right? And then if you know that, right? Sorry, I'm just here trying to fix my hair in the wind for some stupid godforsaken reason. I have no idea. Anyway, if you know, right? If the political party is just out there just to get as many people underneath their umbrella, right? then you understand that they may or may not be aligned with your long-term best interests. And if that is the case, you have to understand and ask yourself, how can I protect myself? Whose interests whose interests are they representing? Are they interested more about who gives them the most money? Where do I fit in the whole big string of things? Because I want to break something down too. So like we're all on the same page. Now, I'm unaffiliated for lots of reasons. But I want to explain something to you. For some of those who are kind of unfamiliar with politics, they don't know about politics, okay. On the right-hand side of the aisle, right? And this is a lot of things that I don't like within Republicans, right? They'll say, okay, we're going to give you tax cuts, right? But whose taxes are they cutting, right? They're cutting corporate tax, right? They're cutting stuff corporation tax, right? Well, trying to reduce any form of wealth taxation, right? Cutting income taxes for the highest tax bracket, right? So then they argue, well, that's okay. Trickle-down economics is going to work. The poor people are going to get it because the rich people will have more money to invest in more resources, whatever. It all depends on the people, right? Because they may or may not invest. Yes, a smart, astute business person will take that money and invest. But if anyone has been monitoring what's been going on NASDAQ, on Dow Jones and stuff like that, a lot of people are pulling out and pulling their stuff in cash. There ain't no trickle-down economics going on right now. The only trickle-down economics is if you are affiliated with Netflix or Amazon and Apple or some of those other stuff, where there is a huge pent-up demand for electronics and stuff like that because people are just sitting their asses at home and they don't got nothing else to do. Okay, so within those sectors, people are making bank, right? But then let's look at whether or not like the people who are supposed to be helped right now. I don't believe that poor people are being helped at all. I feel like rich donor class people are being helped. But look, before you sit here and call me a Democrat, I want you to hear my other perspective. So Democrats, right? Race baiters extraordinaire, right? Everybody who doesn't agree with them, everybody's a racist. Like that's the Democrats' like claim to fame. You're racist, you're racist, you're racist. Find something offensive, you're racist, right? That's their original tagline. Anyway, one of the things that the Democrats always talk about is, well, we're going to do equality programs. We're going to offer more benefits for the poor. And then they tell, oh, for Black Lives Matter, stuff like that. But honestly, like, for example, over $200 million was being raised for a Black Lives Matter. Do you know how much money actually went to black people? To black people, what's going on right now? Not a lot. Not a lot of money at all. It got funneled to the Tides Foundation. It got funneled to Thousand Curves. If you don't believe me, go look it up. I'm not saying anything that you can't find on your own. And a lot of you guys are very astute. You're knowledgeable. You can look this stuff up. The point I'm trying to make of all of this is that politicians use things that trigger people a lot. Race is just one of them on the Democrat side to fundraise to get more money and not necessarily help them. Because here's another dirty secret within the Democrat Party. If Democrats actually took care of people, actually gave them the money that they need, people wouldn't need Democrats. Democrats are supposed to be, quote unquote, the party of the downtrodden and the minorities, right? But they set up situations by race baiting, by actually taking away their ability to want to be self-sufficient, right? And then they keep them trapped in the system. And if you've been to any major city and just driven around and seen the broken down schools, high poverty rates, high crime rates that are around there, then you know for a second that liberal policies don't work. So what I'm trying to say is that everybody within different spheres of politics, doesn't matter if it's left or right, everybody's looking out for who gives them the most money. Think for yourself. Don't throw yourself into a particular box unless you really understand the motivations. And if you want to be a Democrat, cool, you do you. You want to be a Republican, you do you. But just think for yourself. Thanks for listening. Take care and have a good day. Bye-bye.